Well, hello there, guys. I'm going to stop doing videos on Facebook because Facebook deletes them after so many weeks that they're up now, which they didn't used to do. And I used to keep the videos to store the videos to be able to go through to get the evidence. So that's going to be pointless now. So I'm now literally going to be changing over all the platforms. I'm not this married couple that run and do all this together with somebody. It's been an absolute strain of 9 years since sort of being pulled out of why I went to university in the first place, why I designed Unity in the Community, Challenge Britain, Step Up Britain in the first place. For those that know, most people know that um, while I was doing my psychology degree, I challenged the belief system that said those that were abused go on to abuse. And I said, actually, it's completely the opposite way. And most of them that have been abused will make sure that they go on to have lives that keep their children away from any of what they went through themselves. The majority of parents want a better life for their children than they had for themselves. And that's always been difficult for me when my stepmom, that was a massive, big influence in my life, always said to me, before you settle down, Kelly, before you make any decisions, she used to say, go and be an air hostess, go and travel before you ever decide what it is that you want to do, go and experience the world. She always wanted better for me than a council house. And then it was my stepmom that I fell out with literally just before Aaron and Faith were taken, because everyone was trying to push me into council and I was saying, no, I don't want to be in council. And there's reasons for this. One, I was raised in council, so why would I want to hope and dream of having a council house that maybe one day I could buy, that I can't really do anything for it? A home to me is about a place that you live. It's about a place that you thrive. It's your place in the world. Like they say, it's your castle or whatever. It's the place that you're able to create and do all the things that you like to do, to then go out into the world and showcase what you do, what you're about, things like that. But the home is meant to be the base. And for me, the difficulty has been with private rental, especially if it's all fully furnished and it's decorated the way that it wants to be. You're not able to make it your home. When I lived in army accommodation, you couldn't paint anything. All you could do was live with magnolia walls. Every single every single property was in magnolia, and you were able to put a little border up with blue tack. You couldn't actually put it properly up unless somebody had already done it. And when you used to leave the properties, you used to have called a military march out, which meant that they used to go through, the property and check everything. I actually developed really bad OCD going through this. It was even put down in my paperwork that Kelly's got severe OCD. And this used to be when social used to come round, do investigations, do things. And it even just having a husband coming home from work, and you'd be the wife at home, you'd have the children going out, your husband going out, you'd maintain the home. And 2 seconds, because I'm on a live. So just stay there, because I'm in here and I'm staying on a live. I'm just in the bathroom. You're going to have to sneak out the other way or wait. Okay. No, you're actually okay. You could have done that yourself. Go. Make sure you flush the toilet. So, again, it comes down to, they said to move into council because there was a challenge with, no, yeah, I saw all that. But when I'm on this, seriously, this is what I mean. So should I have to go into an office? Because in order to create unity in the community, Challenge Britain and Step Up Britain, I had to work in an office. I had to sit in an office all day, buy a computer all day, dropping my children off at school all day. And the reason that I designed this is so as a mum, I would be able to be a mum, because none of the fathers have ever supported me. It doesn't matter if I've been carrying their children. Not one of them has gone out, bought me maternity clothes, made sure that I've got all the things for a baby, nursery, none of this. I have never had any of this. Not one of the men in my life has ever provided me with even a nursery space, a nursing space, or even made a home. Yeah. So call it the independent woman that wants to do it by herself. I'm sick and tired of living to the level that I have to live with because of who's knocked me up. And it's usually always come through dancing. And for me, dancing has been my freedom. But obviously, I wasn't one of these underground, jungle girls. I used to go to clubs, normal clubs. So yeah, anyway, I'm really seriously thinking about how I move forward because it has been really, really difficult for me dealing with people that haven't understood me, haven't got me, don't know my heart, don't know my mind, don't understand the complexities of living with this condition. I've asked people to even try to imagine my hands. And the reason that I'm getting frustrated is in Preston, I had an indicative budget. I had the OT. I've got all the paperwork still. I went to university. I saw all what you call the SEND people, the special needs people. I had all the reports done. I met with the adult and children's social care. I met with the OT. We had all these meetings, not like the ones that I have and have had recently. These were around me being a hypermobility EDS mum, the hospital appointments that I have, the physio that I have to do, what my schedule is, and how you manage hypermobility EDS. And that is all it is about to me, because I'm sitting here at 8 o'clock on a Sunday and I haven't done my home. And I'm trying to explain to people, whether you want to call it ADHD, autism, or even the EDS, there is a way that I do things. So before I go, all I want to say is, can you, for 1 minute, just imagine doing the washing up? Just imagine picking up stuff, whether it be your children's shoes, trying to pick up and fold clothes, iron clothes. But for just a minute, can you imagine doing it with hands like this? Can you? Because I've got to get a woman to understand who doesn't understand this condition, who's not qualified to get how this works and stuff, who doesn't get, like, even today I've walked down to Asda and I've walked back, and on the way back I had 2 carrier bags, and I was trying to work out in my mind how to explain to somebody what carrying these 2 carrier bags was actually doing, because the muscles down the side of the arms, the shoulders were going, my nerves were going, and I was trying to explain in my head how carrying them 2 bags was causing for the ligaments and the joints to come out of my shoulder, pulling down my arms, and the actual wrists here completely separating with the weight of the bags, and my fingers. So obviously I have to put the bag slightly up on my shoulder to take the pressure off, but still carrying them bags. And all the way I was trying to ask myself, is this the time to jump in a taxi, or should I get onto a bus, or should I keep seeing how far I can walk without severe deterioration? Because that's what a PIP form is about. But for the sake of what? £290 on the lower level, and I think it goes up to about £375 on the higher level, maybe £550, I can't remember. When I was in it, it was 3 tiers. It's now 2 tiers. And at the end of the day, this is meant to be about independent living. This is about somebody like me in the morning who, from the first moment when I wake up in the morning, there's a barrier straight away. And that's because I have posterior tachycardia, and the majority of my joints are struggling within the morning. I'm a bit loose, or I'm a bit stiff, or an injury. And that's every damn morning. If I didn't have this, I wouldn't have the fucking condition in the first place, and I would be somebody who would just be able to get up in the morning, throw her gym clothes off, run out, do me little run things, down to the beach, do me Pilates, do me stuff, nice videos to go along with it for people that, wanted to train and do what they want to do. I'd be dancing. I'd probably even be doing all the trampoline training. I'd be doing gymnastics. I would be doing all of these things, roller skating and stuff. But I can't, because of the level of injury that I have. So I've always wanted to be with somebody that I can do these things with. Graham even though he used to beatbox, at the end of the day, he was a soldier. He was working in the army. He wasn't building on his natural abilities and things like that. James was the same, apart from the fact that he was interested in catering and he did actually go into a few competitions. As I've said, I sat there with him when he was being judged by that guy from Can't Cook, Won't Cook. But at the end of the day, he was a slop chef. Um, I've always said I wanted to be with somebody that was passionate, that does health and stuff. Body balance is a massive big thing. And all these things you want to do as a couple. And that's why obviously I met, is it Nick and his missus that were doing all of this, but I got caught up in the whole, should I be a vegan? Should I be a vegetarian? Should I eat meat? And that's again coming back down to health again. So I can't be around the people that didn't get me anymore. So the reason that the sun is so important to somebody like me and all of you is from the moment the sun rises, we are dependent on vitamin B, we're vitamin D, vitamin B12, all the minerals, and we get this from nature. We don't eat this way or live this way because you're in what's called the modern slavery bill, or people are just ostracized out of society and slammed down onto benefits on an income that isn't going to, you know, let you go out and buy some clothes, go for a meal. It's survival mode. Hey there, good evening, Oliver. I'm just on for a bit of a rant at the moment because obviously as from tomorrow, people are going to catch up with it being public knowledge about the dimming of the sun, what geoengineering is. And I've been talking about geoengineering for a long time now. In fact, even bringing it up, it was the end of my relationship with Liam and Daniel's dad, well, Liam, Daniel's dad, and why I was going into study in university and why I started choosing the subjects, because I was having everybody telling me I was wrong. You're wrong, you're wrong, you're wrong. That's not happening. That's not true. You're wrong. And then in the last sort of 5-6 years, maybe even, I mean, it's been consecutively, constantly, obviously because I went out there once lockdown had happened. I've been on a mission to prove why Aaron and Faith are taken in the first place. But it goes back down to my ex-husbands. It goes back down to the relationships that I've been in and what happens when a relationship comes to an end. And I've never brought Aaron and Faith's dad, Stephen, or Graham, or anybody into this. And I'm sick and tired of the way that I've been treated by my own family, by my own friendships, because I was telling the truth, even about Aaron and Faith being taken. And nobody has given a shit or cared enough to even understand that they took my children and bombarded me with paperwork. I wasn't in a home after this. It's taken a lot of years to even get to this point. Whoever comes in, my home has not been made out of having an engagement party and friends buying toasters, kettles, and bits like this. When I've had children, I haven't had family, like, you know, certain cultures that make sure that that baby's trust fund is built up before it's even 6 weeks old, 7 weeks old, you know. I haven't had a wedding where, you know, you have wedding guest lists and you have a tumble dryer and a washing machine and all this stuff to start off your family, because I just don't exist in families that have them belief systems and structures. And certainly not married men that get this, or even ended up the last 2 times not even having the same name as my children. That makes me a whore, really. It just makes me a meaningless whore, not a wife. You know, you're not good enough to be a wife now, there, Kelly, are you? Not good enough to have the same name as your children now, love, are you? You know, you're just a single woman who's a whore and a slut because she's got children unmarried, called them bastards, don't they? Bastard children, isn't that what they call unmarried mothers with children? That's what they are, aren't they? Bastards. Yeah. Well, I'm sick and tired of being a bastard's mother and children of bastards, and being treated like a piece of shit because I'm not a married mother. And I'm glad that this society does exist in this way. The people causing problems out there are actually just single people with nothing better to do and don't know how to entertain themselves because they went through a modern school where they just want to rebel and party, you know? I've been waiting for the day that they can just go out and get ratted out of their heads, drunk, stoned, pissed, freaking trip this, pills that, and fuck the police, yeah, fuck the police, defund the policeman, defund the policeman. You know, I think they're absolutely pathetic, really pathetic. So I'm sitting here analysing who I can thank. Because whenever you start a letter, you start with thanking people. And you start, especially with what I've been through, and especially how attacked I have been through this and what I have gone through with even Vice and clubs, you know, covering up and causing problems for Walk for Justice in the first place. And people having a go at me for going out in the media and warning you about the, you know, the pending lockdown that should have happened 10 years prior to that. The fact that it's going to be public knowledge about the dimming, and people, even when I was posting out photographs, were horrible to me. Horrible, mean, cruel and nasty. You know, you break down crying and they're the sort of people who go, oh, boo-hoo-hoo, shall I get the violin? And that's really cruel. So I'm just sitting here thinking about how I'm going to deal with the fact that my own mother and my own father, my two big boys, I don't know what Aaron and Faith have been told, and I can't have a go at them at any point. You know, they're children and they know no different right now. Elijah and Shiloh have grown up with me taking photographs and teaching them about engineering and what it is. They've never questioned me. They've never been to a school that's telling them that their mum's wrong, like I went through with Daniel, where I would go chemtrail, he would go contrail, and school would tell him that his mum was wrong, you know, and I'd have social services saying I'm an alternative parenting, and I'm an anti-vacciner, and I'm all this and I'm all that. Kelly, you're this, Kelly, you're that. So I'm quite exhausted, but I'm okay. I'm very, very happy that it's public knowledge, because now it makes it so much easier for me to write up and prove the abuse that I've gone through over the basis that I was posting this stuff in the first place. And that doesn't matter if it was the dimming program or if it was the sound of silence. Those two things I have been absolutely hammered for. So at the end of the day, this all came down to a young lad who came all the way from Leeds to study in Preston, who had his head stamped on and was murdered in Preston. And this is where I started asking the questions. Where is the community? Where is the community spirit? How has this been allowed to happen? How is our communities been able to be turned into such shitholes? You know, we've got some beautiful blossom, we've got some beautiful trees. Them trees are older than most of us that have ever lived here on this world. So they are hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years old. And, you know, the fact that you're all going to be manipulated again, that they have to dim the sun or it's all going to ban, you know, it's the pollution that has to stop. It's the people putting the oil into the fucking seas. It's the people engineering above our head, polluting our water. It's the dickheads that take goodness knows how much coke and piss it down the water that pollutes our water. It's the miserableness. It's the people that go around who think that they can just be nasty to anybody and everybody. There is a due process in this country. It is part of all the, you know, the fakey system that we all don't really get. But the fact is, as I say, tomorrow morning, I've not got to get up to make sure that our streets are clean. I've not got to get up in the morning to make sure that the hospitals are running. I've not got to get up in the morning and make sure that, or even tonight, I've not got to make sure all the lights are switched on for people. I've not got to be part of going out there and making sure that everybody's got a home or rent or whatever, however the structure sort of comes in. And we weren't the people that built this either. You know, this way of living has gone on for donkey's years. But when I have to sit here and think, I don't have a close relationship with anybody. I can't sit here and say thank you to anybody for taking their time out to help me with paperwork or make sure I'm getting the right medical thing. I really genuinely have, since the day that I walked away I didn't walk away from Downing Street. I was lured away. And I apologise to Sid, because even though he's not here now, Sid was out there. He was trying to do stuff for all of us that had had our children taken. I've got a picture up on my timeline at the moment, and the blonde woman is the woman that had the relationship with Jason that put up this whole "we want to be a family" and sabotage Walk for Justice. I don't know their connections with everything. The person that I really want is the person that actually created the website, paid for the website, and deliberately went out there. So I think the people that I've probably got the closest relationship with, and the people that have helped me work through my trauma and been very understanding, to be honest, has been the police. And being that it was the police that were all masked up and told to do what they were doing, I think the only thing I can do right now is educate them on why parents like us don't like police sitting in there on a criminal matter. And if they want police to be welfare check officers, then they need a different system, because you can't have somebody that's dealing with criminals treating people with physical conditions who say epileptic. You know, if somebody's had an epileptic fit in their home and you've got to get in that home, it's them services, it's the ambulance, it's the fire brigade, it's the police. And then we go down to the social workers. So I'm really annoyed with reform. I think if reform had told the truth from day one on why they were created in the first place and stuck to their guns on what it was about, and openly kept talking about it, then I would have a little bit of sympathy for them right now. But they haven't done. All I can say is to the fathers that have been alienated from their children, well done. Like, well done. Well done to those out there that understand how it feels to not get on with your normal everyday life. So anyway, tomorrow is but another day. I failed dramatically to set up. I'm getting closer and closer to the 1st of May, into May, which is obviously EDS Awareness Month, and trying to explain and have to live with people at the end of the day. So if I was on my own independent, then it's not a problem with the PAs and carers and all that sort of shit, because you're on your own. But when you're in a relationship and as the wife and mother, you're expected to be the dum dum dum. It comes back down to the modern slavery bill, doesn't it? Do you have somebody wipe your ass? Do you have somebody tidy up after you? I do not agree that women are just there to be slaves for men. So they can have their lives, do what they want to do, come back and forth into a home and just use it like a B&B, to be honest. And I think times have changed, and I'm loving what I'm seeing in the new generation of families coming through. I'm really, really seeing, and I hope to God that they keep their relationships and they don't do all this divorce and separated stuff, and they do see their lives through to their 60th, 70th wedding anniversary, and that family really does matter. And yeah, the more and more and more that I see a dad pushing a double buggy and the wife at the other side dealing with it, the more I love it. And I just think, well done to these new breeds of fathers. I really do. Seeing more and more and more hands-on dads. And even outside, even just a minute ago, dads out there training, playing football, even teaching on scooters and stuff. I love it. I really, really, really do. Just unfortunately for me, I never got that sort of man in my life. So yeah, I have still been out while Dean's been here with Shiloh, but you know, going skating by yourself, it's really boring. And I haven't been interested in making relationships with lots of other people. I've just been interested in trying to build a relationship with just one. And obviously, I've got children from different fathers, so it's got to be somebody that accepts all my children. And that means that, even at, what Aaron and Faith are going through. So 9 years of being nearly 10 in it. So it will be nearly 10 years since I met Dean, and it's my birthday coming up again. I have not had a birthday or Christmas with my family or with my friends ever since. But I have to say, I I don't think I can forget. I think it's going to take finding someone to finally talk to, probably a therapist. And now it's all publicly out, and I don't have to prove anything. I won't have people going, oh, she's mental, she's crazy. I've just got to deal with how I felt about people not getting me when I really needed them. And when I was getting completely battered by the people behind the website, rather than my own mum putting up mothers of narcissistic daughters, and Dean going out there slagging me off to everybody, and his family not even interested in me, and my family fucking just leaving me in this situation, um, that's going to be the hardest thing. Now I've got GoDaddy telling me that my products haven't gone through, and I've got to make a massive big decision on where my commitments are, what I want to put my focus in, because I want to be able to know that I can succeed every new week, start in keeping my schedule. You're also used to other people running your timetable for you, telling you where you've got to be, when you've got to be there, that you probably never even thought about writing your own, what your life looks like, how to get the best out of you. And the majority of you probably don't even think about training or exercising or being healthy. And even if you're on PIP and disability, once you're labelled, most of you think that's it. That's it. And you don't ever think, right, okay, let's start looking at food. Because the problem is, when you start looking at food, you start realising most of it isn't food. So yeah, I'm just a little bit pissed off that I'm 47, I'm living in a council house. I can't even go out to something like Currys or Argos and buy a fridge freezer or a washing machine, a tumble dryer. I can't go out and buy carpets and get a decorator in. And so yeah, I've got a lot of work to do in the next 3 years. I really have. Road to 50. I'm just glad I'm still alive, because at the end of the day, it wasn't easy going through all of that. It really fucking wasn't. And some of the things that I was called and some of the things that people have done, I still don't know what's true. I still don't know whether people were lying and trying to hurt me, or whether people were actually telling me the truth because they wanted me to know what fuckers some of the people really were. And that's going to take me a long time. So, as I said, tonight, medical stuff down on the table, and literally working through to the 7th of May on how the fuck this condition affects me when I have to deal with people that don't even believe I've got it. So yeah, see how I feel later. Catch you later. Anyway, whatever you're doing this week, whether you're getting up to build the life of your dreams, or whether you're getting up to build somebody else's dreams, because whether you work for yourself or whether you work for somebody else, it's that someone's got a vision, a dream, and they're building something, and you're either building somebody else's life and dreams or you're building your own. So all I can say is it's a massive fail for me this week. Tomorrow I will be starting with the residual of last week in this week. But I'm in a better place in terms of I'm about to go and change the boys' bedding. I've brought a new bed in. It's cost me 60 quid with my headphones and their bedding. I'm going to do that. And for me, that's also a milestone. This is all bog standard, basic things that make a home a home. For me, I've just had to get through with being dumped on my ass not even being able to go to shops for even my own clothes. Like I said, most of it's found out of bins. Um, how I eat. I've been trying to cope on a budget that I get paid in the middle of a month. Um, that I used to get paid one night, you know. So yeah, and also now whether or not Bitcoin to me is gambling or not, and that's my next step. And I'm going to make a decision on that, um, or not. At the end of the day, I have a right to thrive. I have a right to be able to have a great quality of life, just like everybody else. But for the last 9 years, I've just literally walked around the area where I've lived, and I've moved 3 different sort of areas in the time that I've been here. And I've just followed 2 little toddlers around, in nature, playing with ants, um, going down to the beach, and building a little bit of their own rhythm and their own stuff with what they're doing. Um, so it's a car on the road. So is it Motability? Go and work for somebody, or buy outright again. So I want to buy my own home outright. So we shall see. Try and get this book done once and for all. But in order to write the book, I got to tell the truth about other people who persistently lie.